I'm Jen. I've lived alone most of my adult life. By choice. I'm an introvert. I'm fiercely independent, and I really and truly love living alone. I have said in other videos, go and have a look back, that I'm not averse to being in a relationship, to having a relationship, but that my partner would have to have a space of their own house. Because at this stage of my life, after living alone for so long and having all of the benefits of being a solo, I really can't see myself being able to share my space with another human being 24/7. It wouldn't work. So saying that, I'm likely breaking some sort of unwritten solo living rule that all of us should be out there looking for someone to share our living arrangements with. And I'm not. I refuse. I like living solo. But it seems that there are a bunch of unwritten rules for living alone. These are guidelines, whispered, and sometimes said right out loud by family, friends, lifestyle blogs, and Pinterest boards filled with images of plants and minimalism and self-care Sunday routines. Not that I'm against any of those. But if there's one thing that I've learned by living alone for this past 30-odd years, it's that I am perfectly content. One might even say I'm thriving by breaking most of these so-called solo living rules. Unspoken rule number 1 for solo living: always keep your space clean and tidy. You don't want to be one of those sad old ladies shuffling around stacks of old newspapers and kitty litter boxes. Do you? More on that later. I tried. I really did. In the beginning, way back in the beginning, I had an apartment, and it looked like a magazine spread. I had pretty scented candles lit, dishes done, bed made, not a towel out of place. But eventually I decided that having a clean-ish space that feels lived in is way more comforting than stressing about fingerprints on the mirror. I hate vacuuming. I hate cleaning the floors. I hate dusting. And I mean, I've got tchotchkes in every room that just gives dust a place to call its own. I used to get to it all eventually after making myself feel guilty enough or horrible enough, or better yet, waiting until I had guests coming over. Then I would scramble around and clean. Now I've sucked it up and I just have a cleaning lady come in twice a month. She does all the stuff I hate, and it's enough. Just enough. I make my bed when I feel like it. And guess what? I still sleep just fine. The number 2 unwritten rule for living alone is that you should cook real meals from scratch every day. Apparently, society considers adulting to mean that you have mastered the art of meal prep and knowing the perfect balance between proteins and carbs while shopping local, organic, sustainable, grain-fed, free-run, and gluten-free. Let me make it clear, I am all for almost everything that I just said there. I'm a smart lady, eating properly, eating well, eating healthy. These are all important to me. I believe in supporting my local farmer, my local fisherman, bakeries and shops. They all get my patronage as much as I can. And I truly feel balanced when I eat a balanced meal with good proportions of all of the food groups, prepared without a lot of processing or fuss. I'm environmentally aware, and organic, sustainable food, harvesting, and preparation, those all make sense to me. But I've also been known to eat egg rolls for breakfast and snack on dill pickles and saltines slathered with peanut butter all freaking day. And that's it. I totally cave and pick up some form of fast food probably every 2 weeks. And you know what? I'm still happy, healthy and obviously well fed. Unspoken rule number 3 is don't talk to yourself. This is the first step of a slide down a slippery slope and into madness. Too late. I not only talk to myself, I have an internal dialogue running 24/7. I talk to myself writing down all of the ideas for this very video. I argue with myself as well. I frequently do. I'm my own worst critic and my own conscience. I play the part of angel and devil. I talk to the dog, I talk to the cat, I talk to the plants in my garden, I talk to inanimate objects in my house. Good morning, my love. Don't you even. Stay. There's something satisfying about narrating my morning ritual or telling Ms. A about my day. I don't think it's weird at all. It keeps me sane. Rule number 4, don't get too comfortable being alone. I guess there's this fear that if you get too comfortable being alone, that you'll forget how to be around other people. You'll become feral. I think it's more of a fear, especially for women, that we'll succeed at living alone. Social norms generally require that everybody couple up and then go have kids. That's deemed normal. If you're living alone, then you're not normal. Not yet, because you're not contributing to the norms in society. You're other. But if a woman lives alone successfully, if she does all of the things for herself and is happy and fulfilled to boot, I think that some people with an old-fashioned outlook on life feel that life is some sort of a competition. And if I, as a solo woman, am happy and fulfilled living my life alone, then that somehow says something about them. That their entire life of living by the rules is somehow a lie, that they have failed if I'm doing well. And that obviously bothers them to no end. But honestly, everybody's different. Trying to force every living being into a box of conformity, well, that was just never going to work. It never has. Living alone has taught me far more about myself than any crowded dinner party or cohabitation agreement ever could. I make my own money, I fix my own problems. I know how to sit in silence without feeling lonely, how to enjoy my own company, and how to dance like an absolute fool without judgment. Because I'm the only judge. And I don't judge stuff like that. Unwritten rule number 5 for solo living, always be productive. Another myth. I get it that there are times when, as a solo person, you just need a little bit of help, somebody to give you a little boot in the pants to get you going. But sometimes the most productive thing I do all day is water the garden and binge watch YouTube. And that's okay. Living alone isn't about constantly being on the hustle. It's about learning when to push forward and when to just exist. And my unwritten rule number 6 is don't get a cat. And this is a follow-up to number 1 way back there about the kitty litter boxes. I don't know what it is about being a woman and living alone and getting a cat. Like, is that supposed to be some kind of a curse or something? You don't want to be a crazy cat lady. That caricature of an older, disheveled spinster with a cat. It's an easy punching bag for writers, pop culture pundits, even some government officials. That stereotypical cat lady we know today is typically depicted as haggard, mentally unstable, and willfully isolated, except for her gaggle of cats. Pathetic. I'm not going to drone on about this, but I think that the vast majority of derogatory comments stems from men throughout the ages who were intimidated by independent women who didn't adhere to the norms of the time. Those being childbearing, domesticity, and silence. Cats became associated with disobedient women. After all, a woman who chooses to share her life with an animal that is arguably untamable should be suspected of being untamable herself. Dangerous. And so I own a cat. At times I have owned up to 3 cats all at one time. I don't consider myself lonely or mad or a social reject, but untamable? Maybe a little. And I like that. In conclusion, breaking these so-called rules of solo living has given me freedom, comfort, and I think a deeper sense of self. It turns out that I think the only real rules to solo living are to do what feels right for you. Whether that's eating cereal in bed, singing at the top of your lungs, or leaving dishes in the sink overnight. If you're at peace, if it brings you joy, then you're doing it right. So here's to breaking all of the so-called rules and writing some new ones of our own. Leave me a comment and like and subscribe if you are feeling a little bit like a kindred spirit. I'll see you next week. Bye.